name is Rabbi Matt Zerwekh. I'm the rabbi of Temple EmanuEl in Oak Park. I've been the rabbi here. I'm entering my 5th year as the spiritual leader of Temple EmanuEl. I remember growing up at Temple EmanuEl's preschool here, learning the 4 questions and bringing home a Haggadah I had made that had all of the different pieces of food we were asking questions about. Matzah, piece of horseradish, things like that. That stuck around in my house, my family used for years. I don't think I have a favorite because as I've grown, I've had favorites throughout various parts of my life. Either the feeling I got as a high schooler going to big regional nifty events and being in community with all of these teams who thought similarly and who were there together for the same reason. I think about actually the first service here at Temple EmanuEl after we had to go virtual back in 2020. And everything went a little bit crazy. We didn't know how we were going to do it. We figured out a way to gather virtually. And the very first service, we clicked Zoom and got it going, and suddenly there was a screen full of faces. And I got this wave of emotion and comfort knowing, okay, we're here. We're going to be a community no matter what. This is just a new way to do it. And that's a very powerful memory for me as well. The very end of undergraduate, I was involved in the political realm, the political sphere. I was on my way to applying to law schools, but at the same time, I'd always been I was a youth group advisor. I taught Hebrew school, and I knew that I wanted to have a positive impact on my community. And I realized after leaving a political fundraiser and going to teach Hebrew school in the middle of the week that I felt so good getting a chance to hear what I had taught my 5th graders. They were repeating it back to me and telling me what it meant to them. And I realized I may be looking for the wrong sort of impact in the wrong sort of place. And so I had a conversation with someone at Hebrew Union College. And I realized that where my passions were was something I could do, not just as a volunteer, but something I could devote my life to. And something just clicked. The part I most value, the part that is my favorite, is that I get to be invited into people's lives in really big moments, and I get to be with them in their joy, and also I get to be there as a comfort and to be there with them in their sorrow. And I feel really privileged to be able to provide that support for folks when they're looking for it, and to help add to the celebration when folks are ready to celebrate. Every time I have a chance to do a wedding, every time I have a chance to do a funeral, even though it is always a sad occasion, I feel this really deep sense of honor that I've been allowed into these people's lives, and to be able to do it in a significant way is really big for me. I love spending time with my family. The rest of the week, we're all over the place. Even on Sundays, there's Sunday school, there are birthday parties, there are all these things. But on after services, even during services, often my family will join by Zoom. I have a young son and a slightly less young daughter. So they join me from home. And when I get home, we make it a point to sit down and have a Shabbat meal together and to spend quality time together. And that's my favorite part of the week. It's the Hashkivenu. In the Reform prayer book, and actually in many liberal prayer books, not just Reform, there are a lot of ways to massage Hebrew to be more colloquial or more meaningful. But the straight up words of Hashkivenu are just so beautiful, so comforting, and provide me this kind of the blanket of the comfort that I think is intended. So I'm going to read a little bit just to show you what I love. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. I think especially now in our world, having a feeling and a sense that there's a great comforter and a great protector, it's really powerful to me. And those words come straight out of liturgy. We don't need to help them. I have two, and there are two different reasons. Passover, because I experience my world through my stomach primarily. So it's a great way to experience the holiday. It's like we're told to experience it through our stomach, which is exactly right for me. But the other one is Purim, because even the most serious, observant Jewish community doesn't take themselves that seriously on Purim. We're reminded that the world doesn't have to be a terribly serious place at all times. And it's fun. It's fun to be able to just not take ourselves all too seriously sometimes. Mishmash soup, a good kreplach, a good matzah ball, a nice broth, that, savory broth. There's not much better than that, I think. To have a relationship with God and our community about which we're always learning, that we're always challenging, we're always questioning, but also the underpin of all of that is a love and acceptance. I think that being Jewish is being part of a big family, all of the dynamics of a family, the good and the crazy, but also that we're always engaged in that Yisrael, the struggle with God, trying to really understand how we understand our theology, how we understand our community. I approach my world in trying to better understand each and every day. The fact that our community also strives to wrestle with those questions, and to know that even in the wrestling, we're still partners with God, and that we're still very much responsible to tikkun ha'olam, to repair the world in however many ways that means, but that it's not just up to God, it's up to us. And it can be two things. We can hold these two concepts in our hand. One is we're wrestling, we're not sure, it's challenging, there are parts that we may not really know how to feel about. And at the same time, we still do the work, we're still marching toward a better world, we're still committed to repairing the world in partnership with God. For someone who's really looking, work in a congregation to understand how congregations work. If you don't want to work in a congregation, keep an eye on the rabbis you see in the world. See what you like, see what you would change, be open to all of those, but at the end of the day, stay true to you. I started playing the violin when I was 5. And I played violin regularly through my late teens. Music is a very important part of what brings me joy. I think with our world moving wherever it's moving, we see more and more, I see more and more how important it is to find points of connection between folks who may not necessarily see places of commonality. I think we as a Jewish community are only stronger when we find ways to be together, reasons to work together, and I think we find a lot more strength when we're willing to work with one another and lift one another up. For so long, organized Judaism has been a competition, it has felt, between congregations to get the most members, do the best programming. Each congregation has its own flavor. I think we can all succeed if we're all willing to honor the differences, but also lift everyone up. Find the ways to authentically collaborate and to cooperate.